we are back. We are Brandon Society. Yes, I'm your girl, Marissa. Introduce you guys.
Hey guys, it's your girl Tiffy G of At Beauty Supply, online beauty supply store Black owned and operated. Check me out, guys. www.atbeautywith2ys.com.
It's your boy, Leah Jetta, artist, Freedom Vibes Motivator. Let's get your life together. Let's go, baby.
Yes. And I already introduced myself, but I have an online store that's transitioning into a subscription company very soon. And it will be called KM Style Box. Yes. It will have all your needs because it's a subscription company that moves with your life. No one else is moving with your life. Nobody. Nothing else.
Nobody.
Maybe All Things Beauty is moving with your life too. I believe All Things Beauty is moving with
Well, you know, we just about defining the best you. That's all we about. Just define the best you.
And Freedom Vibes, that's always the movement we want to be in. We always want to be in Freedom Vibes.
That's right. Stay free, baby. Live life.
Yes. But yes, we are hitting you over the head today about movement. Why? Because we are talking about movement. Yes. Everybody's talking about how busy they are. And yes, we are all very busy. But just being busy does not mean that you're actually going anywhere. You can run in place and burn a lot of calories. But you're still in place. And so we really want to dissect today, especially when we talk about businesses and branding, the importance of not just being busy to be busy. Because that's easy to do. It's easy to just keep doing this and doing that. And then you see the years pass and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't check anything off my list. And yet I feel like I had no time. So we definitely want to get into that. And we're definitely going to also bring you not just advice, but also personal experience like we do every single week. We're going to get into how we apply these things to our own businesses and brands and just our lives, period. As well as some of the pitfalls we fall into and that we've learned from them. We're like, that was just me being busy, but not being progressive. So, we're going to jump right into it with our first question because our format always is that we're going to give you 3 questions, 3 things to think about, 3 things to apply to your current business model, your current branding model, or just your life. Because at the end of the day, we all should be moving up. We really should. So let's get into it. First question straight out the gate. Because we know we're not going to go over what it is to not be achieving something. So what is it that you do specifically to achieve your goals? Because I think that is the first thing we need to solidify, is the fact that being busy has to have a direction. Being busy has to be in some ways structured. It just can't be that I want to come out the gate. I want to start a business. And then you just start going and doing all kinds of things. And do they even connect together? So creating specific goals is important. How do you create a goal? And once you have that goal, what makes it a goal? Like what factors go into something moving from an idea to, that's my goal. And then you actually are going to put that into the flow of your business, the flow of your brand. So who wants to hit that first? It's kind of like a 2-part question.
You know who I'm looking at already. I mean, we got to feed each other. I got to start with Tiffany.
I guess I'll go. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to look this way. Well, with me, my process is, I don't really have a process, honestly. I just kind of go in, something's in my eye. I just kind of go in, I guess, with the intent of, since I am in the beauty industry, just trying to meet, the core needs of people, on a day in, day out basis. But I like to also, the goal for me is always incorporating, like I said, still a sense of individuality within that. So I think my process about going with that is, I can offer many things within the beauty industry, but I always try to make it governed by, I guess, what I've showcased to a certain degree, like on my social media. People know I'm big into like makeup, I'm big into hair, for the women. And even though now I've branched out to guys, so shout out to you guys, because I got some stuff up finally for you. But
excited.
I'm right now at the stage with that. We're asking questions because I'm not a man. So in terms of moving forward with, really developing At Beauty on a bigger level to accommodate a wider range of people, it's particularly men, I'm really at the beginning of that. I'm gonna be 100% honest. So I'm honest. Yes, I am navigating. I'm trying to map out like what would be the appropriate way to attack that.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, my source of that is usually just like, boyfriends that I've had, or just, the men in my lives, just thinking like, what are the basic things that I see a lot of guys need now? And I'm trying to just incorporate that into, my brand building and just the website as a whole. But it's the process because, like I said, sometimes you're going in with blind eyes and you don't really know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
You like we said last week, we can do all the research, we can go to the table and sit there and, do all those things, but there just comes a point where you just have to get something out. Well, and then it kind of builds from there. So I work like that. It's like I've gotten to the point where I just want to have a basic understanding of the principle, the core needs, and fulfilling that.
Mm-hmm.
And then building is doing the things like we said, the research, asking people, all of those things.
So you kind of like so your process seems that you have an idea, and from idea you just jump in, and then you, as you're in it, you start kind of like formulating,
like fine tuning, fine tuning, really. Like I said, curating down so it's real precise, or it's like, okay, guys, they want this particular kind of, like I spoke to one of my friends today. He told me that he wanted a, what was it? I forgot the term he used. It was something about like the blade on a razor. He used like a low something razor. And I had never heard of that term before, but I was like, you know what? I'll keep that in mind. And I'll make sure that I put something, because he can't be the only guy that, because skin, they want a particular razor on their face. So I was like, okay, I'll do it like that. So yeah, I'm just referencing real life people and what I know from just like the beauty industry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Would you like to add to that, Leah Jetta? What is your process for creating
just like Tiff, I'm a creator, so it's like I don't really have a set process. It's like a lot of times when you feel the juices fall. Now, sometimes it's when it comes down to the business side of things, it's more like I got to sit down and do research and stuff like that. But when it comes down to like creating music, when it comes down to either on the other side with talking to people, I don't really have a process for that because I like that to stay genuine. But that's really all I can say. It's simple. It's like on business side, I try to stay organized with days I purposely sit down and do some research, talk to people. But on the writing and whatever side, I'm like whatever I'm thinking about, I don't really, because you can feel inspiration at 12 in the morning. I mean, you can feel inspiration at 6 in the morning. So it's like, I'll sit down and sometimes I'll write at the park and just kind of let it flow and whatever the case may be, but there's really no process. And then studio time is like, if you finishing up something, you set your time to go. But as far as the business side is more so the focus side, what you make time for and set meetings for and things like that. So you kind of be on a time basis, but everything else is more so just creativity, trying to stay.
Well, I'm the total opposite. Some of what they say, I will not lie, gave me a lot of anxiety.
Yes, I know you so well. I was like, Kim is so the opposite. She was like, what? Y'all not planning this out?
But you both are actually doing planning. It's just, you're playing at different stages, which, makes sense. For me, my format, I do have a format, is that first I go from idea, and the first thing I do is I start researching everything about that idea. If it's for me building a website, I didn't just look into how to start a fashion website. I specifically looked at the industry I'm going to be in, which is subscription boxes. Then I started, really going in deep with that. And then I started researching everything I guess I look at what the finished product should be that I would be pleased with, that I think is achievable, and then I work backwards. So that's how I do with everything. So if my goal is to have a subscription box company, then I am going to start with looking up subscription box companies. I'm going to start researching the best ones that look like mine. I'm going to then start researching all of the money I'm going to need for like the materials to actually have a box physically, the logo. Like I do all of that. Honestly, I do all of that before I then commit to that I'm going to jump in, because from those things, I oftentimes can get understanding if I'm even ready to start on that journey. Because sometimes you'll find out, oh wow, like there's so much other things that are in need to happen, that is like, oh well, that can happen, but not in 1 year or not in 6 months, because it depends on how I wanted it to develop. So that's usually my process, is that I work kind of backwards from I go straight from idea straight to what I would like it to look like reasonably. And then I start researching everything backwards. And then I'm like, okay, that's a go, or that's a no-go, so that's how I do it. But I mean, I think the proof in the pudding is always what you're able to be pleased with if you get to the goal. I think that's also the main point of this, is that we want people to get to their goal. This is what movement is, getting to your goal, guys. So now they're talking about getting to your goal. We do need set of action plans, because there has to be there are steps, like everything has steps. That just is how life is manufactured in many ways. That's just everything. Everything has steps. Even, giving birth to a child, there are steps to that your body's going to do regardless. Like you have. So that being said, setting up an action plan is important to getting to your goal. Because being active doesn't necessarily mean you're working off of a plan or even head in the right direction. It's more that you have to have a real concrete kind of order. Because I'll give you an example. I'll give the audience an example. I've met people that they'll say, I want to start a catering business. And the reason they say they want to start the catering business is because they can cook. And people have told them, oh, you could cook. And they're like, yeah, I'm going to start a catering business. And they start the catering business. And what they do is they go off of no plan. So it's just how they feel. So they'll go to creating flyers. And they'll put on the flyers, oh, I'm selling dinners, or I'll cater your event for $400. And the thing is that if you don't have an action plan is supposed to be your exact steps to get to whatever's the goal, whatever's the profit. Because if they make the flyer for the catering business and advertise it, people will call and they'll say, oh yeah, I want you to cater my party of 50 for you, and you're saying you'll do it for $400. The problem is they never did the research. They didn't decide. They didn't know how reliable it was for them to be able to produce in a certain time frame, maybe the meats that they needed at a certain cost. So this is the importance of an action plan. And I have, met many people in business building stage, particularly, or maybe first year stage, that, because I go to like all these little entrepreneurial events. I've done that many times, so much in the past, where that's a lot of times what happens. We get inspired and we don't have a plan and we just start doing it. But then we actually start really doing it and we don't realize, you shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
Because you jump steps. And then it's sometimes hard to reel back when you've already jumped so many steps.
Right.
So the question is, for you guys individually, how do you set up an action plan? Because also that's the word action. It's the things you're going to check off your own list of like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do this, and these are the actions I'm going to go to get to these steps. So what kind of acts. Now, everyone can have different action steps.
Right.
Or different kinds of flow. Some people's action steps are more about buying things. Some people's action steps are more about creating a fund to buy things. Some people's action steps are more about networking and getting their name. Like, action steps don't have to always be one way, but it is an action, something that you're actionably doing. So how have you guys done that in the last, I'd say, like 6 months for your business? Like, what kind of action steps?
Well, for me, as I told you before, like, now this is the part where I say you do more of the business aspect, the creativity part as far as writing and stuff. But now this part is the part where you really got to definitely check yourself. For me, it was, how do I see myself?
Mm-hmm.
Where do I plan on going? And then the realness of the situation, which is, if I'm going to record, you need money to record.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's the aspect of you need to meet people who is in what you're doing, and people who,
Mm-hmm.
you know, who you can work with, and they work with you, so y'all can, you know, benefit off of, you know, each other. And there's some people who can also help take you a step further, or even give you simple wisdom. So it was, okay, in order to do this, this is what I need to do. And then also committing to your goals, starting to, you know, get to work. Like for me, I got, like, right now I'm still in the middle of rebranding, so I held back on putting out music. I had in my mind, but as you said, I'm like, if I do that, that's stupid. That's skipping a step.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't want to put out music without doing certain things first, you know, because this is me reinventing myself. You know, I made a lot of life changes, so like what I'm doing is fitting that bill, staying true to self. I would say that in the past, I would say 2 to 3 weeks. You talk about shooting yourself in the foot. I feel like I have done that. There's committing, and then there's overcommitting. And I felt like in some things I've overcommitted, like in times.
Is that a werewolf? What is going on?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Go on there, Jetta. You tell us.
No, it's funny, man. The simple things.
Overcommitting.
Yeah, I overcommitted to some things.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and there's times where, like, now when you're focusing on that plan and meeting those goals, I think we talked about this before. You have to have no problem sometimes just saying no.
Yes.
And that, you know, I've had people who, you know, needed help here and this, and calling me to do this and calling me to do this, and I'm like, okay, all right, cool. And in doing that, I'm losing my productive time. Things I can be doing. I kind of burnt myself out within the past, I would say, 2.5 weeks. So that taught me a lesson. Like, dude, when you're in the middle of something like this, sometimes you just have to, you know, kindly decline, because you have to focus on what you're doing. So I was definitely say sticking to those goals, being honest with yourself where you are. So you may need to take, like you said, a fund or some kind of side gig or something, so you can make that studio money. And if, you know, you can't just say, oh, all right, I'm gonna start recording this album. If you don't know nobody who owns a studio, say, look, I'll record you, you're gonna need money. So, you know, and what does that look like? When people come to you and say, hey, where can I hear your stuff at? You gotta have a hub. You have something where people can go and say, oh, okay, I'll listen. Because like you said, now it makes you look sloppy. You don't have anything. You're just saying a whole bunch of stuff, but there's nothing there. So staying committed is what I would say, and using your time wisely, being honest in what you need, whether that be studio time. You know, we talked earlier about a photo shoot. You wanted some nice clothes, you know, so really it's just like, you know, being honest where you are, and you may have to be honest and say, I got to work for the next couple months to get this done.
Yeah.
You gave a lot of great gems, because that ties into what we're talking about, which is you're giving us a transparent look into the fact that as businesses, we all, as people, we have to understand that our time is limited, and sometimes we can be really busy, but your busyness is preventing you from having progress. And I love that as well. So I love that. That's like a gem. I hope everyone who watches this gets that. That's why we're talking about today. We want you to actually have progress, because we don't get those hours or those days back.
She like, no.
What would you like to add to?
No, Jetta's right. It's just understanding, you know, where you're at. Like for me, I'm a mom, and I always have to consider whatever I do, I still have to be able to manage my time outside of my business with my mom, with my individuality, all those things. So going into it, initially I was like, oh, I'm going to house my inventory. That very quickly changed. And I realized that's too much of an undertaking on a financial end for me, for a spatial end for me, because I don't live in this, big place. So it's like, okay, if I'm going to house these things, even if it's 10 things, when you have hundreds of 10 things, that's a lot of space. So I just realized that, I had to scale back the big vision that I had initially. We're all excited in the beginning. We have all these grand ideas and these things we want to get out. But like Jetta said, you have to be realistic about you, your time, and how you're going to utilize that efficiently and effectively to put you where you need to be. And sometimes that is, like Jetta said, okay, I'm going to take these 2 weeks to get money, so that I can, like, if it's something, a priority for your business, so that you can really get that priority for your business, as opposed to, like we said, doing little things and it might seem like you're moving, but it's like, what is it really moving towards?
Yes.
So just having that understanding for me was really pivotal. Like, okay, I'm not gonna house a lot of my inventory. Now there is things that I am gonna house, because certain things on demand, I want them to be more accessible. I want to have, as a business owner, more control over that.
Yes.
But I have to structure. Like I said, I always think about structuring in a way where it's sound for me, where I have so much that I'm doing as it is, just as an individual, because right now I'm not at the stage where I have employees or anybody working for me. So I'm literally doing everything, guys.
Yes.
The development of the website, keeping up to date with things, rolling things in and out. Like, it's real. Like, I didn't even, like, it's becoming even more real as I get deeper and deeper in it. But it's helping me understand, the ways of business and how to be more productive in business, and the sustainability of that, if you want that for yourself, not being in it just for the quick dollar of it, but the longevity of it, and that's take strategizing, as I say. You build a strategy. But yeah, that was the main thing, just structuring out ways that I can cut corners, but at the same time give to my business, like draw back when I need to give to my business, cut corners sometimes as a means of, it's the sensible thing to do at that time.
Right.
And I usually move like that. And that's been working for me better than trying to undertake more than I realistically can handle. And then, like you say, you're now at the table like, oh,
yes.
This
is why I'm just very excited about this topic, because I think this is honestly what a huge hindrance for majority of businesses. They actually say that's one of the causes of a business failing, whether it's the first year or the fifth year, is the fact that they fail to plan.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why planning is so important. And even you two, even though we started off with the creativity, but you guys had your own mouths, it's starting to show more. No, there's a lot of planning. The fact that you're able to have an idea of like, okay, I'm going to house it. You had to do research and had to start seeing things that was like, oh, because you didn't just order the stuff and now you house it.
No.
This, but there are many people that I have seen people order.
Oh,
because they're excited about that step.
Right.
Yeah. And they're sitting on that. That's inventory a lot. They're sitting on
or it wasn't good. I saw a guy who was anxious to open up a business and he bought a whole bunch of inventory and the stuff wasn't good what he invested in. He had to just give it away because so he wasted like tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
You have to, that's why making the move is not always progress. Like even on the social media, we always talk about, big money moves, big money. Every move is not a big money move. And spending big money doesn't make it a big money move. Like you just said, Jetta, there are many stories where people put out real dollars. Yeah. And even all three of us, we have at times put out real dollars for something. And we realize, wow, that was a big money move, but not a big money move because I didn't get that.
I would say too, because there's a high that comes with.
Yes. Tell it. Because this is why we have this
Yeah.
going on. Yes.
There's a high that comes with when you start to follow your dreams and you think about business and then like there's a high that
Yeah.
comes with. And I would say even for myself, there was a high I was on where I was buying every instrument kit, everything, and I was just like going off like, oh my god, yeah, I'm gonna get this and next I'm gonna buy. I'm like, and then before I know it, I'm like, I think I kind of overspent money. Like, I'm like, ooh. But you get this high. So it's like, if you have a clothing business, like just like Tiff said, you can get a high and be like, oh my goodness, and go berserk and buy a whole bunch of stuff without thinking. Because now you just like, oh, I got to do this. And now you start giving yourself the list without actually having the realistic list. There's the mental list that's, I got to do this, I got to do that. And now we're impulsively doing things rather than strategically doing things. Impulsive can be very dangerous.
Oh, yes. And it can take a long time.
Yeah. Impulsive can be very dangerous. People, don't be an impulse person. You ever see people who impulsively spend their money all the time, every day, and then it's like, you wind up in the same place.
First of all, I told you I was working on that, so you didn't have to air me out like that.
I was not.
You didn't have to do that.
I was not doing that.
I'm gonna let that slide, but you didn't have to do me like that, brother.
He's not doing that. Listen, I can't talk because I've done that many times.
That was me last weekend.
It goes with the learning curve of fam.
Yeah.
Like, impulsively, there's a high when you open up a business. Especially when you start accomplishing stuff, there's a high there. When you get a business account and you get your fictitious
first sale, you be like, oh,
yeah. Now you like, oh, tissue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tissue, and now you like start doing all this stuff, and you get social media, and you're like, now you. So there is like, slow down, and remember your goal.
Yes.
And again, ambition, but also honesty. Like, where am I? Because I love what Tim said. I relate to what she said as a parent too, because as well as I'm doing business, I have to stop and always make sure first, especially as a man, that home is straight. I got a homeboy at home. He's playing sports. He just made it to the team. So shouts out.
Give the shout out to
Kevin. Right. But think about that. Now that's a whole nother expense for me. Uniforms, this. So it's like I always have to make sure first that even though I'm doing all this stuff, I got to make sure home is always straight. Even the little things, like my son is a grown boy. He got to be taught and talked to about stuff. So it's like, I can't be so busy that, oh, sorry, son, I'll handle you. I got to like make sure it's got to be a balance there. Because now if I focus too much on my business, home falls apart.
Yeah.
I don't give enough. And if I don't give enough to, whatever, then my business stuff. So I have to always, like you said, have that.
Find that,
make sure I'm on top.
Well, I love it. I mean, this is, to me, I'm definitely going to, really promote all of our shows, but this is because I love that we're using the words prioritizing and realistic in the first question. That's why I said I try to, when I am actually creating a goal, I'm using a realistic goal. And that realistic goal, because I have learned that, again, like, you do get a high. Everyone, when they finally decide I'm going to go after whatever you're losing weight, whatever it is. When people say they want to lose, that's why every single January, athletic gear, workout gear, memberships, they skyrocket for the first 2 months because everyone is ecstatic about the fact that they feel the high of saying it out loud and they believe it in the moment. I'm going to do this. This is cool.
Right. And then later on, you realize the gym is taking money out your account every month and you ain't going.
And you have not
giving them a whole bunch of money for no reason.
You have paid $200 in leggings.
Or you don't got the stamina. Like a lot of people, they psych themselves out like, I could do it. And you're like, I can get up again? Like, no, it's raining outside,
Right.
So.
And your life isn't set up for it. Like everyone's life is not set up to go to the gym, to go to another stop every day. There's work, there's home. So when you start putting in more stops or more commitments, you literally have to find the time.
Yes.
And that's the whole thing. So
finding the time.
For me, my action plans, because I've done the terrible things so often, jumping the gun investing in things way before I should have invested in them. I mean, I still got a $600 something camera that has come out of the box 4 times.
Yeah.
And none of which was even used when they came out the box. I was able to even use it for my business. Like literally, it came out the box. You know, I have jumped the gun many times in investing in things, you know, and it wasn't at the stage. So now I've learned, and that's why I want to share this, because I've learned you do have to plan.
Yes.
You do have to look and think about where you want to go. And like you guys both said, realistically, this year, I am going to be a billionaire. I know this, but I am not planning my billionaire life now. Right now, I'm just trying to get some other figure. That's my reality. So we all have big dreams, as you always say, Liz, you had a big dream, but we can't live in the dream while we're living now. You have to still be, like you said, Tiffany G, realistic.
Realistic.
And so my action plans, you guys have become very more privy to as of the last year, are very based upon what I've already been able to accomplish. That's how I do action plans now. Whatever I was able to accomplish consistently for 3 months straight, 6 months straight,
right?
That is what I build on. I do not make an action plan on something that has not, honestly, for me now, that is foreign. It has to have something that can help it. So, because you both know about long branches. Do I even talk about no action plans for that? No, because it can't fit right now.
Right. Facts.
So that will be on the shelf when there's everything else gets to a certain point where I can now take that off the shelf. But I can't do that. There's a lot of things.
I love how you said that too, because there was also a lot of things that I had that I wanted to do, but it just didn't fit the moment. And as much as I would love to have been on that high of, it just was like, that's not real. You know what I'm saying? That's just not real. The realest thing is, what's it look like for you right now?
Yes.
And you have to, because you know what happens? People look at that, and I think sometimes people feel limited. It's like, you do what you can do right now. So right now you can start writing, you start writing, but your goal should be, let me get this job so I can start raising money for the studio. But you're capable of writing right now. You're capable of, okay, let me just put my info into the computer so I can start getting my social media, together. Like you're capable. So it's like, you have to look at that. And also, like you said, if what did you say? Kind of something along the lines where don't just be doing stuff to be doing. I think you said that. Kim, you was we just pick up stuff. We picking up stuff, and it's not even nothing to do with what you do. It's just
random stuff.
You're trying to sound busy, like we talking about now. You want to sound busy, and it's like, it's not cool to just sound busy. Nobody cares about that, because being a busybody don't mean nothing. You can be so less productive. You can do so much more less and get more done. And then you can try to fake like you're doing so much more and get less done. You're on a treadmill. You're, like you said, you're running in place. And so one thing we have to do is dump the junk. Like I would say, dump the junk. Like even stuff like your favorite show. Sometimes you have to cut that down. Like you watching Netflix 30 hours a day. Productive time. That's not cool. You know what I mean? Or, for me, myself, I had to slow down on, I love to take my walks and coffee at a certain time, but I noticed when I calculated the expense, I was like, dang, I'm spending studio money. And I didn't even think like that. You thinking, it's just 2-3 cups, it's no big deal. But when you tallied up at the end of the month, you like, oh dang, that was it. So you have to start. We don't like to think like that. But if you're in a position to do it, but when you're striving for something, these are the things you have to think about. How can I be feasible? How can I manage? How can I get to the next stage? And those compromises be worth it, because now you can have your 2 cups of coffee when you go to the next place. So you may have to take a step back to take a step forward sometimes.
I 100% agree. And I agree because that leads us into our third question.
You stay doing that.
I don't do that on purpose. You
lie. This is the third week, bro.
Right.
He does. You really do give, like, I find things and I'm like, oh, this is the segue. This is a perfect segue. Because our last question to everybody.
You looking at them questions like, nah, let me see how.
Lear tried to make it a whole thing. He's like,
I'm gonna leave it to that last question.
But I'm gonna make sure those segues, I got those segues on lock.
I'm the segue king. You feel me?
But yes, guys, everything, we love to laugh, we love to joke. And you know what? It's always fun to have fun. And like Learjetta said, though, that sometimes you do stuff and you get in a mix of doing things that do have a benefit. We're not going to take that away. It has a benefit, has a mental benefit. It even may have a benefit for your business or your brand. But you get so caught up in the benefit that it starts to become a depletion. So how? I'm asking y'all, I'm going to answer too. How do you not get caught up in the fun? Every single business, every single brand, life, period, has things that, yes, it has fun elements. But if you get caught up, that really can stunt your movement and definitely stunt your progress. So I'll give y'all an example for myself in my industry. So I'm a reseller. And that means that one of the best aspects of my business is that I shop. I get to shop. And many people, that is the point that becomes the downfall for them, because it's fun, it's an escape. You get to tell yourself you can have lunch afterwards outside, all these things. And it's fun to shop. The problem is that what is a good thing for your business, for that business, becomes a liability. Because a lot of people who do what I do, they shop so much, they're not putting it up. So they're buying all this stuff. It ain't never seen the light of day. Or it sees the light of day super late. So they bought it in February. They don't get it up into like April. This is for real. So they went 60 days, not making a single profit, not even getting it up to possibly get a profit. The other thing is that, again, everything is about timing. Whatever business you're actually in, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's music. It doesn't matter if it's movies. It doesn't matter if it's beauty, fashion. It doesn't matter if it's cooking. We live in a society that actually, regardless of what coast you are or even what country you're in, there is a certain rhyme and reason to the different months of the year. That being said, you can't get so caught up in doing one thing where you're putting yourself behind for what's coming up. So for instance, all three of us, even as an artist, once we start getting to summer's close, there's a new vibe. And everybody wants to be buying into that new vibe, which is fall, which is cozy, which is crisp, which is also reinvention, because the fall people, even, it's amazing as adults, even though we don't go back to school, as adults, we still think of September as, a reason to get new wardrobe, a reason to buy new makeup, a reason to, start talking about new. It's so engraved in all of us. But I say that because when then Christmas comes around, that's the holidays. Music has a holiday cycle. Every artist starts putting out music, Christmas music, at least once in their career. Some got a Christmas song. Snoop got a Christmas song. Everybody got a Christmas song. Even for beauty, I know there's Christmas. People look for certain colors. They're looking for berries. They're looking for, chocolate. They're looking for all these things. Same for fashion. It's same for food. If you're in the food industry, same for movies. There's a reason why people look for blockbusters in the summer. The reason I'm saying this is because for myself, I have to stay on track so that I'm always in the right moment with my business. And I can't do things that are fun and not get them to a certain stage, because then they become a liability. So for me, most of my time is not spent shopping. And anyone who's close to me has actually started to realize that. Most of the time, I'm actually sitting in front of a computer in an office by myself. That is my average week. I shop only 2 times a week. That's the only time I shop, and it's for a couple of hours. That is it. Also, what's not fun, but you have to do, and a lot of people don't do, is you have to look at your numbers. I have to look at my financials. I don't care if you're making no money, because your no money has to still go into the business so it can finally make money. And that's right. So I have to look at my numbers I do it every week. I actually do it every day, but I'm not saying I'm doing it every day. But you should be looking at your numbers regularly. You should be looking at your finances regularly and budgeting for your business. That's not fun. No one likes that. It's not fun. But it's necessary because, like Lyra just said, like Tiffany said, you can't even invest in your business if you really don't know what you're working with.
Yeah.
And you really don't know also the numbers you need to get to it. And something else that's not fun in my business that I have to do is I have to photograph. And so I can afford someone to photograph for me. I have to photograph my items. And that's not the not fun part. I could spend to do all these things, but then it's just going to be short-lived because the money is going to run out because my production level does not meet the money that I need to give someone else to do it. And that's very important. And this is why, again, we're talking about what's real progress. If I can leave anything with anyone today, real progress for no matter what you're in is when what you're outputting is reciprocated. It's coming back. So if I am outputting money to pay someone, what they're doing is actually good because it's in the cycle of I'm getting it back because they're doing something that's now cycling and it's actually selling. So then it's a cycle. But a lot of times we get caught up in giving people money because we like being able to say we hire people. And then we're not making enough to pay them. So either we choose not to pay them or we don't pay something else. But either way, you have to fix that cycle because everything should be flowing. It should be one to the next and next. It needs to reciprocate. And that's what that's where real progress is. So those are my things in my business that are not fun and fun. I love the shopping. I love the making of the money. I love seeing when things are purchased every day, thank God. But there's a lot of things I do in my business that are not fun, and I had to discipline myself to do those things actually every day. And I don't like it every day.
Yeah.
I have to do it days when I don't actually make the sales to even it out that day, because it's not always going to be the cycle's perfect. But I have to still do it because it'll catch up in 2 days or the very next day. So that's how I have to not do the not so fun things, not get caught up. So anyone could jump in because all of us have these stories of like the fun things that you have in your business and not so fun things.
The fun for me is the creative process of curating, for the website, and then my brand at Beauty, specifically my indie brand, my house brand within all of the other brands that I sell. And that's fun because I'm very hands-on. I'm just a creative person. So I like working with my hands. I like thinking of ways to recreate things. As y'all know, most of y'all might know on IG, that's what I'm predominantly known for, is like creating looks, different looks. So the hard part about that was like, now running a business, I had to kind of recondition myself because the order would usually be, Kim knows this, I push out my looks for the day.
Yes.
And that can range from extravagant to, like a basic, like a little glam look similar to what I have on. But again, that's fun for me. Thank you. Thank you, honey. But again, that's the fun side, because that comes naturally. Anything that comes naturally for me, yes, naturally, that's going to be the fun. It's easy, it's breezy. The hard part is, like you said, when you now have to go to the table and you think, okay, in the sea of everybody that's selling beauty supply, I have to not only stay on top of my business, but I need to now find a way to be individualized within all of that.
Yes.
And that takes time. Like we said, it takes time to research, like, what is on the market? What can maybe you offer to the market that's not out yet? At least I'm thinking that for my business because I want to be, innovative in that way. So that's the hard part because I can put anything up, but again, for me, it's personalized. I like things to feel like Tiff, EG, feel like at Beauty. We talk about branding, always having that feel. Like we said, when you go into a Target, I want that same energy. Like just going onto my website, people are like, oh, this is an experience. And like you said, that experience is going to drive into sales.
Yes.
I need the experience to drive into sales. So it's always, okay, this is not the glamorized part of it, but I have to dig in deep. I have to figure it out because like you said, we've invested. This is our other babies. So it's just like, I got to figure it out. I constantly have to figure it out. But yeah, the creative end for me is always fun. Going to conventions, beauty conventions. I do that a lot.
Yeah.
And that's exciting because I get to see firsthand people in my industry doing what they love. And in turn, that's what I love. So I get a lot of joy out of that and inspo out of that. But again, I even want to transition with that. I don't want to just be a spectator going to these events now. I want to be a vendor.
Yes.
So even then, I'm just like, okay, Tiff,
Mm-hmm.
take the fun out of it, girl, because you need to be a vendor now, sitting in one of these booths selling your stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
But yeah, it's creative for me. It's always balancing my own personal creativity as Tiffy G and my own social media presence with my business, you know, and figuring that out. But that's like the hard part is the at beauty end and just really giving the experience and having the experience transition into people impulsively go on the website and they want to buy. They want to check something out. So yeah.
Awesome.
I would just say the same thing that Tiff said. So,
Oh, you in beauty now?
No, not beauty. You know what I mean?
I'm playing.
Let him live though.
And you know what? Maybe I might help out with that men product. You know?
Listen, go on the website.
Do that.
Oh, you could be a model.
Oh,
we already spoke about this.
Oh, let's talk.
We already spoke about this.
Let's talk about it.
Oh, we're gonna talk.
Kind of briefly talk about it. I'm down though.
I'm serious, bro. Like for real.
I'm super serious.
Okay.
I think like you said, getting caught up in the fun, like, you know, you do shows, you're meeting people, you're doing stuff. That's really, really exciting. I can't lie. You're in your element. It's a different, you know, environment. Like we say, you on that high, but you also got to remember your goals, what you're doing, and because it's easy to start getting so caught up. Like, and like you can run at. I just told y'all earlier that running at 1,000. You know what I'm saying? You can overcommit. So a lot of times it's fun. You're doing stuff. You're running at 1,000, but also then it's like you look up and you can be like, "Yo, all right, I got to keep my focus in because I have a million things to do. I'm about to put out a project.
Yes.
I'm still in the middle of rebranding, and again, financial wise, there's so much that goes into that period. You're putting your money out, and that's another thing. Like even when I laughed earlier, but you know, all the little nice toys you get playing around in your own studio. You know what I'm saying? All the online, all these fancy musician stuff, and you just high like, oh, I need that. Yep. I need that too. Oh, that. Oh, I need. And like you said, that can be like when you equate it to being a reseller, just kind of going in there and housing a whole bunch of stuff now, and you're like sitting down, and 6 months later, you're like, yo, I bought all these fancy toys, but when's the last time I even did something with it? You know, that you have to just remember to stay on course. That's what I would say, you know, because lately I've been having so much fun. I've been staying on course, but I feel like the overcommitment is in I was doing too much as far as helping this and pulling away from my time. So that was something I was like, you're gonna sit your behind down and get this thing together. But I feel like for me it's just like really staying the course because you can get caught up in the fun when you start doing stuff, when you're going out. I love how Tiff put it when she said, I don't want to just be going to events. I want to be like, yo, I'm one of the vendors, come holler at me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to just keep going to shows. And I want to be like, yo, I'm performing. I'm doing this. I'm cool with the invites. I'm cool with this. But what's up? Like, we doing this. We doing that. I'm continuing. And it has been happening. But is you always have to remind yourself because, again, that high we talked about. And I think that was perfectly put coming up. Like, you can get on a high in different areas, whether it be, oh, well, this event is coming. I'm going here. Or this going here. Oh, this new store open. I'm going to go buy over here. And now you look up and you're like, dang, I ain't do nothing this week. You know what I mean? Like, or even a month, you're like, dang, like, I noticed a dip in.
Stop it.
You know what I'm saying? I noticed a dip in sales. I noticed a dip in something. You know what I mean? So, it's for me, I have fun doing music. I love creating. Still, the end goal is I can have fun creating, but now I want to put out music. So, at this particular time for me, I have finished product. I have everything. So now my most important thing is, bruh, the fun is cool, but sit your behind down and finish handling your business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
business side is a big thing for me right now. So the fun had to still gonna have fun, but I keep myself in check. You know what I mean?
I mean, like I love.
But I would say have fun though. Don't be so by the book. Like have fun. You gotta. I mean, you're supposed to enjoy what you do.
Well, yeah, you definitely have to have fun. I mean. I think anyone who's watching this and will watch this, has gotten a lot of jewels today, from all of us, because at the end of the day, yes, the whole point of starting anything and going towards a goal is because that's going to improve your life. It's something that is going to bring joy to you. No one's forcing you to have a goal. No one's forcing you. But, I think a lot of times it's delayed gratification. I've learned that. You can have fun, but the biggest fun you'll have is, yes, when you have worked hard so you can play hard. That is real.
Yeah.
You have to work hard. And that sometimes is not portrayed accurately on TV. It's sound bites, but no. Most people who are actually very rich actually put in a lot of hours every day. You think that they're just flying around on jets. No. I saw, Tiffy Jesus, just to add, I saw what you recommended, the J-Lo documentary that she put up.
Me?
Who told me about J? Did you tell me about J-Lo?
No, I told you about Kanye.
You told me. Oh, I get these Geminis mixed up.
Like, huh?
Well, you told me, bro, about that. And I saw it. And again, I wasn't surprised, just because I'm not surprised about the work ethic that's portrayed, because at the end of the day, whether you love the person, you don't like the person, whatever you think, you can't knock the fact that they are at a certain level. And
yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, and it made me give her a newfound little respect. Yes. I was like, okay, she real grindish, like real grind time. Yeah.
And that's just, if anything that Branding Society could leave with you, that's one of the things I hope that you always get from every episode from us, is that the grind has to be real. Not just look a certain way. It has to be real. It has to be your daily. It has to be your weekly. It's a real grind. And the success that you really want to get out of it is exactly only going to come if you really give to it. You got to give to it. And much of that is not glamorous.
No, and there's no friends in business. When it comes to business, you got to be about your business. Like she was like, we ain't playing right now. Like I need us to be in sync. We need to be.
I love that scene.
I love that. I thought that was so poignant, because it's true. You're on the stage. We got to look like we are one person.
Yes. And I love how she said, and I'm sure you, Anthony, Leah, you can resonate as an artist. For me, it resonated, like Tiffy G said, it resonated for me on instantly for how I feel about my business and where I'm aiming. I understand that that's the kind of, not conceit, but there's a level that if you have given to this for years, decades, you've given to it, and there should be a certain level of excellence and a certain level of just, I'm there. I'm an expert. Where she said, I can feel, she was like, I feel y'all. I
love this.
All of y'all. And I'm looking at the camera saying, does the camera got me? She's like, but there's a camera got me.
Yep.
And you're mentally record. She's doing all of that simultaneously. She's like, and y'all could do it too if you get in gear. And that's how I feel about my own business. I feel at a level of certain things, I have an expectation, and I know it's possible. So
and we as consumers, we feel that. Like even when I was watching the rehearsal, I was like, yes, J-Lo, like get them together, because this is what sells.
I got a rule as an artist. Like, one thing I don't do is, I've never been big on this, and I think I said this to y'all before. No, you're not coming in my session. No, you're not smoking, you're not drinking. No, you're not.
Yes.
Because this is business to me. This is focused on. So you're not going to be there with that. I never got that kind of environment. It's always like high end. It's always respectful. I never have that where I'm at, because to me, I'm like, I don't represent myself that way. That's number one. And number two, this is my brand, and you're not coming in here with that foolishness. I've seen like people got like a million entourages, and now when I first started, different. But as you grow, you learn. It's like, that ain't about nothing. So I start learning that you definitely have to respect your brand, who you are, and stay true to what you do. Like you said, like, no, you're right. It shouldn't. It's certain stuff that you should never allow. You can't play. So absolutely,
it's true. Well, guys, this was an amazing episode. Like all of the episodes, we are now on YouTube. Oh my goodness, we want to grow this YouTube.
YouTube.
Yes. excited. We're excited. So we want you guys to please, if you're watching this, like this video.
Yes, yes.
Subscribe, because we come every single week with new content for you. I mean, you know, there's so much that has to be said about building a business, especially in the new day and age we live in. So it's like there's always going to be some gems every single week for you guys. And we want you also to comment. Let us know what you think, any suggestions you have for future shows, anything that you liked, or even things that you disagree with. We want to hear from you guys. So, but yes, there's a lot on the horizon for all of us, and we hope for you as well. So any last words, guys?
Hit them notification bells too.
Word up. Hit the
Yes.
notification. And stay focused. Get out the bed.
Very true. Very true. All right, guys. Until next week. Later.
Bye.